I'm on my way to visit my friend because I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow morning, and it's so early in the morning that it would be very annoying to drive all the way from up where I live. So I'm going to spend the day with her today and then stay overnight so I can go to my appointment in the morning. But I was a bit early, and so I spontaneously decided to visit one of my favorite thrift stores. And of course I found some amazing things, so I quickly took a break to show you because I still have a lot of time. I found 2 of these very cute little ice cream cups. I would think these are like, I would use them for ice cream. That's like a really cute little size to put some dessert type of thing in here. Then I got a pair of pants. These are 100% linen pants. They are very simple. They just have this elastic waist and then very wide pants. I haven't tried them on, I just assume they will fit. And then my personal highlight is this jacket. It's a Wrangler jacket with this corduroy collar. It is in this off-white color and it's 100% cotton, so this is just such an amazing find. It's very good quality, it's in a good state, and it has this classic bomber cut that I really like. I also didn't try this on. I paid €9 for all of this together, so I don't know the individual price of each item. Now I'm going to continue my drive down to civilization. Also, I forgot to put some lipstick on. I can't go to civilization without lipstick on. That would be a crime. Yeah, that looks good. Today the hunt for morels continues. We are on a different spot than I filmed in last week, but I was here last week as well. Let's just hope something grew in the meantime. I don't have high hopes, but I'm not willing to give up yet. So the conditions morels need to grow, or they are in some kind of symbiosis. We have an intruder here. Hello. She's not a fan of me sitting here and talking to the camera. But they are in a symbiotic relationship with fir trees, and we do have some firs over here. We also have a very annoying dog. These are fir trees, and they also don't like acidic soil. And we only have acidic soil here in this area. But when there's a gravel road with a specific type of gravel that contains, in German it's Kalk, I will write it on the screen, I don't remember the English word for it. A few meters around the gravel road where the fir trees grow, there is a chance of finding black morels. So that's what I'm looking for. These are the specific conditions. And I'm also looking for specific plants that are indicators to the soil conditions. Let's continue this quest of finding black morels this year. I am giving up for today. It wasn't successful again. So yeah, we still have a very nice walk now, but I feel like my eyes won't stop looking. I'm so fixated on the shape and the color and the form of a morel. I see them everywhere, but they're just hallucinations at this point. We are heading back home now, and I will try to go to one of the other locations in a few days, but also I have my birthday in a few days, so I'm going to be a bit occupied with that because I have some friends over and I want to make a really good cake and prepare some food and the garden, because I want to have like a little garden feast. So I won't have so much time to continue my morel hunt. Yeah, still, I'm really looking forward to the next days and to my friends coming over and to my birthday, of course. And I again lost my dog. Look at her being stupid. She has the time of her life. No? Over these past days we also finally released our hedgehog that we rescued in the autumn. He is back to his healthy normal weight and he got through hibernation very well, so now we opened his enclosure and he's going to be free to roam the world and decide where he wants to go. And it's a bit sad, of course, because I got used to him being around in some ways, but I'm also very happy for him to be a free hedgehog again. I also had a very, very nice birthday. My friends were over and we had very good food. I made a lemon balm matcha cake. It was amazing. And as you can see, we had some special guests over because a swarm of bees decided to drop by while we were having lunch and fly over our garden and then settle down in some little bush in our neighbour's garden. So we got ready, my neighbour and I, to catch them so we can put them in the hive that I have already prepared to adopt some new bees. So it's very lucky that these bees decided to just pay me a visit on my birthday, and they let me know that they are in need of a home, so I now have bees again, and it's very exciting. It was such a fun way to spend my birthday. All of my friends were on board. They helped out and documented some of these actions here and watched, and it was just great fun. And the bees are settling in now. They still need to adapt and explore their new surroundings. As far as we can tell for now, they're not from the hive that we already have, because we looked into that and it doesn't seem that they've lost like any amount of bees in the last days. So it's just an extra swarm of bees that somehow appeared and now lives in my garden. So that was a very nice birthday present. Welcome to me answering questions. My name is Svea and I started making videos about a year ago, and just about my little life, some creative projects, nature, like very calm and cozy little glimpses into my life. So a little backstory to myself. I grew up in this area, and 2 years ago I moved back here from living in different cities for 13 years, I think. And I moved back here because I am chronically ill. I dealt with some level of chronic illness all of my life, but it got to a point throughout the past years where I couldn't really sustain myself independently and I needed some support and some help from other people. So I moved back here because my parents are also living here. We live in the same house, but we do have separate apartments. But we share the same garden, and the cats are living with my parents upstairs. My dog is living with me in my apartment, so we share some things and others are separate. So yeah, that's like the whole background to also me starting this channel and starting making videos, because I needed some kind of project that I could still do while being chronically ill and not having a lot of energy. I'm still unemployed because I'm not really employable in this state. There's also something that I wanted to address, because these videos that I'm making, they are in some ways heavily romanticized, and that's what my goal is. I really want to have this romanticized version, but these like 20 to 30 minute videos aren't a real representation of what my life looks like. A lot of it looks like in the video, but a lot of it doesn't. Also, I don't look like this for 99% of the time, so keep that in mind. I'm not living the dream life, even though I'm probably pretty good at making it look like it is a dream life. In many ways it's very irregular, so. But let's get into the questions because there are a lot of them. When did you learn all of your crafts and other activities? For some of the crafts and the skills that I have, the foundational work was late in my childhood. Like with knitting, my mom taught me very early on to the basic skills of knitting, how to do a knit stitch and a purl stitch and how to cast on and cast off. I wasn't really into it. It was just a skill that I have. It was like learning to write. That's just something that you learn. And for me, because I have a mother that is very much into textiles and she does a lot of different creative projects, it was just natural for me to learn. Most of what I do now is self-taught. I'm big on watching YouTube videos. If I want to learn something, I will just Google my question and look for answers. I'm not a person who's going to book some kind of course to learn anything. I don't know. I teach myself pretty much everything, and I've taught myself pretty much everything, and I do have very strong interests. In a way, it really comes really easy to me. If I want to know something, I will find a way to know it and to learn it and to broaden my horizon. What is your profession? So I don't have any kind of degree and I never finished any kind of studies. I started a few times, but I never finished. But I would say my main profession is music. I worked as an independent musician and composer and producer for the past years before I moved here and became unemployed. Any other hobbies other than knitting and weaving? Oh yeah, there are a lot. So I love books, I love to read. I also like writing. I also do have a Substack, if you want to check it out. I'm not very consistent with writing on there, but sometimes I do. I also love plants. I used to have 170 house plants in my old apartment. Unfortunately, I don't have a lighting situation that allows me to do the same here, but I still have around 30 plants here, I think. But I lived in a jungle and I loved it. I also love to forage, especially mushrooms. I am very knowledgeable with mushrooms and I love to learn about them. They are one of my special interests. I also love to garden and grow my own vegetables. I started beekeeping last year. I also just love animals of any kind. I could adopt all of them into my life, but I don't have the space or the capacity to do that. But I will care for the spiders in my apartment. They are also very nice. What else? I love to sew. I sew my own clothes. I love thrifting. I don't know if that's a hobby, but I feel like it is. Also, music, of course. I recently got a bike. I really like bikes and riding bikes, but with my chronic illness, it's a struggle. I will probably make an entire video dedicated to this bike and to my plans, riding my bike and what I'm planning to do with that. Do you live with a partner? No, I really prefer living on my own. It's my favorite way of being. Yeah, I live with my dog. She's my partner. Do you preserve food from your garden? Yeah, I do. I think I also have some snippets from that in the summer videos. I did make syrup so far and I ferment some of the vegetables and I do plan on doing more of that, so yeah. Do you have a philosophy on what you choose to film? Yes, I do. Because when I started this channel, my goal was to have a project that doesn't require a lot of energy from me. So my plan was to document the activities that I was already doing, and that's what I'm still doing. I choose to film the things that are there. I don't want to plan on, oh yeah, next week I'm going to do this project so I can film it. It's more than I'm planning my projects and the activities and whatever I'm doing according to the energy levels and the overall state of my health. And if I manage to do anything that seems interesting to me or that is aesthetically pleasing, I will film it. Where are you filming your videos? I live in Germany in the Black Forest. So that's where I'm filming all of my videos. Yeah. Do you find it easy to share glimpses into your life and your inner world? Yes, I guess so. I think it's easy. But that's also because I like the art form of documenting. And I like photography, I like videography. I really like working with this medium. So I think in a way this comes easily to me. I don't know. Any drone recommendations? I have a DJI Neo. That's like the tiniest drone DJI makes. It's not the highest quality, but it is really easy to use if you don't want to have like one of these huge drones where you need a controller and you need like a license to start it. I think for me this is sufficient quality. You can control it with your smartphone and you don't need a lot of technical knowledge. At least I don't think so, but I am a technical person, so I don't know. How do you maintain your relationships with people who live far away? So for most of them, I just text them occasionally, and sometimes we get on a phone call, but I'm not like occupied by daily phone calls and constantly texting someone. But I think that's also my type of relationships and my friends. Most of them aren't daily texters or people who enjoy talking on the phone, which I also don't really like. So I think most of these relationships are like, I know the people are there, they know I'm there, and that's it. Favorite designers, period or style? So I think fashion-wise, I really like the 90s. I think its colors and the shapes and the overall aesthetic is most fitting to what my style looks like and what I like. Fashion designer wise, I'm not that knowledgeable. I have watched a few runway shows of Le Maire and I really enjoy their colors and their silhouettes. It's a lot of oversized, very high quality fabrics and shapes with really nice cuts and colors. So yeah, probably that. What is your go-to for when you're enduring bed rest? I think this is referring to food. Most of the time when my symptoms are flaring, I'm having a very low appetite, but something that I can pretty much always get into my system is soup. So all kinds of soups. I'm a soup person, I love soups. And if I'm not doing well and I have to stay in bed and my whole system is like confused, soup is probably the only thing that I can really digest. So yeah. Biggest life lesson so far? I think with my recent biography, it's actually like being true to myself and being honest with myself. I think before I moved back here and before I accepted my status as a chronically ill person, I was very delusional in many ways and I ignored so many symptoms, also because I was dismissed by medical professionals all of the time. And I was so much in the habit of doubting myself and doubting my perception of myself. I created this image of what I wanted to be like and what I thought I am supposed to be like, and that is probably also because I'm on the autism spectrum and masking is a big part of being autistic. So now being so far removed from all kinds of societal expectations gave me the opportunity to actually listen to myself and to stop ignoring all kinds of symptoms. I think that was like the biggest lesson I had so far, to stop caring about expectations from others and to stop caring about opinions from other people as well. That was pretty huge. How do you maintain your lifestyle in terms of making ends meet? I thought a lot about this question because some of these things are just specific to the country I live in, because I live in Germany. We do have the privilege of having a social system, even though it doesn't really work for a lot of people, but it's still there and I'm lucky to have that. So for now I get a bit of social aid. It's not a lot, but since I don't have much expenses here, I never travel, I don't have to like commute anywhere. I pretty much only pay for rent and for food. That's that. I don't have the funds to do anything else. A lot of the resources that I use in crafting I had before, or my mom had before, because she's also a very crafty person and she has a lot of supplies. I would love to get back into being self-employed at some point and have my own income again. Who are some other YouTubers that you enjoy watching? So I made a list, of course. So for knitting inspiration, I really like watching All Wool Fibre. I think she hasn't posted in about 6 months because she finished her degree as a registered nurse. But she posted on Instagram that she plans on making content again, so I hope she does, because I really like her and her creations. I also really love Hanaan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I butcher any of these names, I'm sorry. She also makes really gorgeous pieces and she is so good with colors. It's amazing. I also really enjoy Ida's Corner. She's a Danish YouTuber and she's just very creative and has a very unique style, like fashion-wise, but also the way she edits her videos and the way she films. Then one of my absolute favorite creators is Nelfurch. I don't really know how to say that, but she lives in northern England, I think, and she moved to the family farm and started renovating one of the buildings to use as her studio, and now she's planning on renovating another building to live there. And she does a lot of chores around the farm, planting a garden, building a greenhouse. She has such a calming presence and her surroundings are very beautiful, so I really love her videos. Also Amy Spires. She lives in Scotland on the Isle of Skye in a caravan, and she has a very lovely dog as well, and she does very beautiful videos about her life there. And she has a second channel about bike rides. It's called Pink Sky Rides, and that's also great. I love watching this one as well. On the topic of bike riding, I also love the channel Bikes, Books and Buildings. It's a guy from Oslo in Norway, and he's just making videos about his bike rides and his philosophy surrounding bikes. And I think he's also an architect, and he talks about some buildings in Oslo. Very beautiful thoughts while riding his bike through this beautiful city and the beautiful surroundings of Oslo, so I also really like his work. And then I also like to watch a bit of YouTubers who talk about books. So my 3 favorites are Bibliosophie. She's living in New York, I think, and she's so well educated. She's also an opera singer and just amazingly talented. I think she's originally French and she's just gorgeous. Then I also love Katie James. I think she's in the UK somewhere, and she also has these very smart thoughts about her books and her reading, and I also really love watching her, as well as Rhi Harper. She's also someone that I really like to listen to because she's also very smart, and I think she studied literature, if I'm not mistaken. Did your previous profession involve filmmaking? In a way, yes, because I did some music videos for my music, but not really, I think. I was always interested in photography and I had a pretty good camera, but not to the extent that I'm working with film now. Do you miss your city busy life before, or do you feel at home with this slower life? Sometimes I do miss it because there are things that I really can't do here. Sometimes I miss just dressing up, go for a walk and have a coffee or something like that. But I think I do lack a bit of the imagination to think of myself in a city without having the symptoms that I have. So having the symptoms while being in a very busy environment is just so not enjoyable that I just avoid the environment for the most part. I do visit cities like once a month or something if I have any kind of appointment, and then I try to do some of the things that I want to do, like go into a bookshop or go in thrifting or go into a cafe. But for the most part I don't really miss it, because it's so much more enjoyable to be here and to be in this calm, quiet atmosphere, which also allows me to do a lot of things that I couldn't do if I had to deal with the noise and the busyness of a city. I really wouldn't be able to take like my daily walk there. It would exhaust me too much, and I can do that here because it is so quiet. So yeah, I don't really miss it, to be honest, no. How do you adapt your daily life to living with a chronic illness? I think a lot of it is just pacing and accepting your symptoms and planning your life according to them. What makes it really difficult is that you're not as capable of planning anything. You can make plans, but you will never know if you can actually do them. I think the biggest difference for me was actually accepting my symptoms and stop fighting so much. Because if you're constantly in this state of fighting your illness, you won't have any energy left to do anything else that is actually enjoyable and that gives you some positive outlook on the world and on your life. Being very patient with yourself and with your plans. I also wrote a Substack essay about some of this if you're interested. Like my way of dealing with chronic illness. I wrote a essay about that. So, are you a writer or a poet? In some ways, yes. I do write. I have a Substack. I also would love to write a novel one day. But I would probably do that in German, because German is my first language and I feel a bit more confident in writing a whole novel. I did write a bit of poetry, and I also do write my own lyrics for my music. So if that counts as poetry, I think I am. Are you a bookworm or addicted to movies? I am a bookworm. I love books. I read a lot as a child and as a teenager, and then my 20s came and I kind of stopped because I was so busy with other things and trying to fit into social norms and being a musician and being self-employed and making ends meet, which was always very difficult. So I really didn't have the energy or time to read. But now I'm back to being a bookworm. I read a lot and I love books, and not so much movies, to be honest. I'm not a movie person. I try to be sometimes, and then I watch a movie and I think it's nice. But I'm not so much a movie person. Maybe I will get there one day, but so far I'm not. I like watching documentaries of any kind. Documentaries about nature, moss or something. I would watch that. But like movies, I don't know. These were all the questions. I hope this was kind of entertaining or enjoyable to watch. And I hope you're having a great day.